better current and is it?
Driving now, so kinda not really tuned in as much.
And soon getting man. Hurry yourself.
Akeem, let me know if you have me there live. Right. Good night again to everyone. Welcome to another session of Dribble FC Lead Game. Our topic for today would be the recommendations from FIFA to develop each member association. This would make our possibly fifth or sixth presentation. Let me just, before I start, let me just check and verify something before I go ahead and go. Please, 1 minute. Where is it? I'm trying to get the share properly. Stop sharing. We need any audio. Great. Okay, so let's do this again. Let me know when I'm up again, please. Up and ready? All right. So as I was saying, there's some of the recommendations from FIFA to develop each member association, and this is actually part 6 because we didn't get a chance to do it last week. We had a quite interesting conversation about football and tennis and things, which was welcome. So we decided to bring this particular presentation back to complete it tonight. Man is disturbed not by things, but by the views he takes of them. So Mr. Alexander is usually disturbed because of the views that he takes towards the Football Federation. For me, everything is perspective. However you think, or whatever you think is based on what happens in your mind. Another saying would be we suffer more in our heads than we actually do in reality. With that being said, the point is the way we feel, the way we react, the way we behave is based on the perceptions and the views that we hold towards specific something. Sometimes it may be the one that we need to have, but sometimes maybe an exaggeration or maybe an underestimation as well. So be mindful that the way you perceive things is based upon the views you have of them. Play of the week, a couple of things I want us to look at. So the first is just a reminder that our national team would be into the under 17 CONCACAF qualifiers, and they're in the group with Barbados too, so Belize, and they would begin in August. Currently, that team is in training. I know they're doing 2 sessions now a week. I know they had a practice game last Saturday, and I believe they already had a session this week already. And the team is supposed to be broken down soon, I was told, for their next run. So for the 2022 U20 qualifiers in Costa Rica, we were drawn in a group with Bermuda, Dominica, and Virgin Islands. Only one team will progress from this particular group to go on to the other section to qualify for the actual U20 Women Championships. This team as well will begin its preparation as far as I understand. They were preparing before the entire volcanic eruption and so forth, but I don't think they're back up and running as yet, but I believe that it would be up and running quite soon. So as it relates to female football, that's what's taking place in terms of the national setup. And the regional scene, here were some of the results. Any of these stand out to you, gentlemen? Any of the games you've had a chance to look at and was surprised or were pleasantly surprised or anything stood out to you? So we had, for me, the interesting one of the day would be Mexico Trinidad 0-0. After such a poor showing in the World Cup qualifiers. The new coaching staff was able to draw against Mexico 0-0. Canada came out 4-1 against Martinique. Again, Haiti did well versus America, losing that game 1-0. El Salvador and Guatemala, the teams we regularly play, recognize that this was an interesting game as well. The Jamaica game for me was quite interesting because I was waiting to see where Jamaica is in terms of their preparation, and I was somewhat pleasantly surprised, or maybe my expectations were too high for them. But, Costa Rica, as usual, showing the dominance against Guadeloupe. I was unable to see the Panama Qatar game.
Best game.
And I'm unable to see. Best game so far. Okay.
Yes.
No, that was not the best game so far.
That's the best game so far.
No.
Yes. You see it? Did you see it?
Yes, I saw it.
Okay. You commentators?
I think the best game so far was in Mexico, Trinidad. The Trinidad hold their own.
Me hold their own.
They defend for their life.
Not defending Man U in the game yesterday.
So, Sammy, I believe that when you say it's a good game, you really like back and forth, as in both teams went at each other.
Yes, it was back and forth. It was.
A man who like possession. Where they were Qatar spread them out. They don't lose the ball. Start it over, go to the next side. Look at the guy who played the weight drop forward. I mean, come on, man.
The number 10 or the number 7?
You want it that for?
The one. Okay. I know what you're talking about.
I mean,
all right. So
you prefer Trinidad?
Go ahead, Sam.
Scrum every time, I mean?
Go ahead.
Scrum?
Yeah. Because Trinidad hold their own against Mexico. It was like a big team against a small team.
Small team.
Trinidad. Trinidad don't have any say.
We didn't have any say.
Not present.
9-1. Or 10. I expect.
Trinidad don't have no say at present, Sammy, and you know that. You know that.
Right. So what about Grenada, Honduras? What were your impressions of Grenada? I didn't get to see that game as well.
I was so impressed. The first 20 minutes, they created more chances until they made a silly mistake. The goalkeeper made a silly mistake.
I have to take it. I have to go and try and see if I can get it.
Tremendous game by Grenada.
Wow. So anything else stand out for you? Were you surprised by Jamaica? How far who do you see based on this first round again? Who you seeing in the finals again? America and Mexico?
Well, no, America, that's a joke team they put them on.
Theon.
Hey.
Good night, everyone. The Honduran team, the strikers, Bengtson and Ellis, I saw them play with the U20s way back when Honduras had a good team. So I was pleased to see the continuity with the national team, those guys still in the mix. I haven't followed them up, but I remember those two with the U20s against the US some years back.
It's the same thing I regularly say. At the number 17 and the other number, I have to study them. in 2012 when I did my MIB Honduras against the US. The number 17 killed the US. Honduras beat the US 3-1 in that game. Number 17 had 2 goals. And it is just the progress with these countries where they can keep those players in the national system. Impressive.
I think it's a lot different for us in the sense that our players, why should they stay in the system? In that there's no money in it. There's hardly any particular motivation to really be in it. Then again, if we look at the way players are selected in terms of the continuity that you guys are talking about, most times it's highly unlikely that the same players would progress regularly along this player pathway. Whereas in these countries, that's basically how they function. You become a professional, you continue the process, you play with the under 20, the under 23s, and you progress. So I think that's probably why you're able to see that continuity that the two of you are mentioning there.
So you basically saying that we need better infrastructure.
Go ahead.
Whereby we should be able to keep these kids involved.
Mm-hmm.
And fund whatever program we have there.
When you say these kids, what do you mean by these kids?
Okay, we are basically talking about the Honduras team. The number 17, his name is Elise. And we had a discussion about that kid numerous times. He been in the national system for so long. And the same thing with the US. Those kids who play on the under 17 that year, where are they now?
I thought you were talking about our team, Vinci.
So I'm just saying, when we start something, we should be able to finish it.
But okay, so coming up. On the 17 or on the 20 teams, right? Just suppose we don't do well.
Huh?
Are we supposed to continue with these, guys until they move them up still?
In the under 20.
On the 17, on the 20. It's like, you're in school, somebody failed, you move them up?
No. I mean, I'm saying the best players.
The best players. How about giving them the best coaches? Let them develop. Bringing you in. Let me get some possession. I mean, come on. Okay, these players who, what is the under 17, fail, or the players who didn't make it, we put you there. We give you that for 3 months. What will happen?
It will be a better team.
Exactly. So why should we probably leave them behind? And we have, you have St. Vincent, a talented youth coach like you. Don't you think it's in our best interest to have you there so you can develop some of these players?
Tommy, that's not my decision on the budget.
No, I'm asking you a question. I'm asking you a question.
Yeah.
All of
Yeah.
these things that we have to do, Scrambler. If we want to get better, right?
But Vince, you have a thing now whereby how they say they're going local.
Anybody tell you that?
Yes, I was told that.
So they don't want you. They just want local coaches.
Yeah.
Somebody tell you that.
Yeah.
Define the term local.
They want homegrown.
Well, you are homegrown, so that's why I'm asking.
I homegrown too.
No.
All of you homegrown.
Can if I'm being specific. Okay.
People who live here now?
Huh?
People who live here now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then why then should we look for players outside of St. Vincent if that's the context we're looking at as it relates to coaching?
I'm looking at the coaching situation where there was an opening. There were several openings with the under 17s. Okay, under 17 boys. I sent my resume. I was told to send my resume. I sent it. Said 3 times they'll be opening. And I was basically told that they're looking for people from St. Vincent.
You are from St. Vincent.
Scrambler, wait. So after you send your resume in, Mr. Scrambler.
Yeah.
Somebody from
my resume was discussed.
So wait. Just hold up. Somebody from the Federation office called you.
Yep.
And tell you.
Yep.
They were speaking on behalf of the Federation. Tell you that they don't need you, they need the local coaches.
They are going with the local coaches.
Okay.
All right. That's interesting. Let's push forward still into the presentation. So these are some of the games that took place last week, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. But from this list, there's actually 3 games that are missing. So you could actually see the total amount of games that took place between Friday and Sunday. So we had 3 on Friday. We actually had 6. We had 6 U11 games, and all the other games remain the same. So we had a good bit of football being played last weekend. This weekend, in our series of practice matches, there won't be any females on the 17s, under 13s, or U11s. The coaches recommended that we pause this week for exams and continue the following week. But for sure, we'll try to have the senior games coming through. Also, I recognize that the South Leeward Sports Association themselves have a series of practice games taking place this weekend. So football is slowly but surely getting back some semblance of normalcy in terms of playing. Teams are trying to prepare and develop the players and their clubs respectively. So we'll see what happens and what continues. What would be interesting to me is the fact that after 2 weeks, or almost 2 weeks of the football being played, I recognize all the hoorah is quieting down. Hope to see some action from some persons moving forward.
Does that mean that we expect club championship?
No, I don't anticipate club championship should start soon, but maybe perhaps after maybe October,
okay,
starting back in the regular calendar year. And for now, I feel that more practice games and that nature of things would happen. I don't see the Football Federation trying to take things too official at the moment as it relates to COVID and the way the government is operating at the moment.
Would you see that, saying that they have no prize money this year? Could they put that money on to the next championship just to make it?
And then what happens to the next one?
Well, the one that's coming up right now.
Then it goes back down to the normal.
Yeah.
How about you just share up the money?
I'm only 60 teams.
As in the prize money that was available for the Premiership, you
Right.
split it amongst the Premiership. Money that was available for the First Division, you split it amongst the First Division. And that's their money to prepare for the competition.
Okay.
But how much money are we talking about? I mean, you guys have like 60 teams.
No, well, for Premier, I could tell you it's 20,000. So 2,000.
I don't know how many teams.
2,000 a team.
That's not bad at all.
What do you mean? That's not bad. 2,000.
From 0 to 2,000 is plenty.
It's 800.
That's not that could buy a uniform.
From 0 to 2,000 is plenty.
That could buy a uniform, Scrumler. With the logo, with the numbers. Yeah. And you can confirm that. Come on, man.
Yeah, you're correct. It can buy
Right?
a set of uniform.
It look nice, right?
Huh?
It look nice.
Oh, I look nice. You can talk about me business.
Your uniform, I see have it all. They say have it all over Instagram. Come on.
You really can talk on me business.
So Mokri looking good?
Huh?
So Mokri looking good?
I'm honoring some uniform for my high school.
Yeah. Things
Okay.
nice. And you make some, you get any business, you can let everybody know.
Well, we gotta keep it, So.
No, we gotta support this door. No.
We gotta support local.
Exactly.
You understand? You gotta support each other.
Yeah. And don't bother Moko uniform been down there like 2 years now.
When they say more green now, some people want to think of the coach more green now. Come on, man. You have to make sure you define it, He's more green.
All right. So in terms of the topic for tonight, the objectives will be national education, policy recommendations, and education in football. So that's basically what we're going to look at. Now, within the context, a holistic learning environment can raise both coach and talent development to new heights. The talent development workplace across the country must be regularly upskilled to have an impact on creating an elite learning environment in which young players can develop and thrive. This impact can be felt across all levels, genders, age groups. To this effect, it is important that the education across all technical domains is up to date, challenging, and appropriate for the demands of the modern day. Before I even begin, something I usually think about is I don't think we don't play enough football. I think we play a lot of football. So why aren't we as good as everybody else? So I think that's the question we need to solve and need to answer. We play a lot of football, we train a lot, I play as much game. But why aren't we as good as the others? So when we talk education, this is the way I want us to start thinking. Maybe when we go to train, we're training bad habits. Maybe we are training what we are not to be training. Or maybe we're not training to improve. We're actually there just trying to have a sweat. Are we looking at transition? Are we looking at how we attack? Are we looking at how we defend? Or is it just I do what I need to do individually and then it get dark and then we're over for the night? I think that's the context in which we have to start looking at education. And the other side we are look at is we keep saying that educate and develop. The players need to develop. The players need to develop. The players. But how about also thinking that this process or these processes are to develop the admin and to develop the coaches as well? Are they seeing this as a means of development as well within the process? Every day is a learning day. Every day is a teaching day. And until we start thinking about things that we're not gonna be moving too fast anywhere soon. All right. So the national educational strategy, obviously, it needs to be tied back into what our philosophy is and what we believe. And then we try to place the best persons in the best places so as to have best results. Obviously, it's for me, the policy or strategy needs to be one where it's innovative. If we take into context the pandemic, I saw this not as an issue, but more so I saw it as an opportunity for us to make persons recognize that we don't have to meet face to face, that we could also still use the Zoom platform for development, so forth. Coaches could now be creative in terms of how we develop our players. It doesn't solely have to be in person, but how could we also have technical sessions using these types of platforms? Within this strategy, coaches need to see the football as education, meaning always willing to want to learn and trying to improve. And the strategies that we use should see us trying to develop the players not solely as footballers, but holistically. And also to develop the clubs holistically, not just in the technical side, but also can we get them to improve financially in terms of the recruitment. Recruitment is not solely about the players, but how do we recruit coaches? How do we recruit managers? And from a JBL perspective, for me, this is quite difficult because if we were to look at motivation, the question is, why should I join a club? Why? There's no real reason unless you're gonna tell me I love football, but love can't buy nothing in the shop. Love can't tell your son or your daughter to go and get something. So again, the strategy needs to be one where persons could recognize why they're doing it and how they can help. There also needs to be a curriculum that is taught straight across the board, across the entire country. Everybody needs to believe in it and follow through with it. And within this strategy, there needs to be a strategy for leadership as well, to help us to recognize where we need to go. And we need to be thinking more like a river, flowing in the same direction. While we may be turning, running into rocks, whatever the case may be, we are headed to the same direction and basically looking for the type of results. What is important within this strategy as well is the environment that is created across our clubs and across all stakeholders for one of collaboration and empowerment. It should not be one where leadership is where it is autocratic or people are trying to micromanage, but it should be a space where persons are allowed to bloom and to blossom within the lines or within the criteria that are expected. The strategy should also be one where it's not, again, not the federation implementing, but more so the federation facilitating the clubs to improve and to help to develop their particular systems. There needs to be cooperation between the MA and the key stakeholders providing education to avoid the duplication of resources. And one such thing that we could point to, for example, here with the volcano, everybody was trying to give, but nobody had a real strategy to work together. So persons, one particular household may have gotten stuff from 10 different persons, whereas another household didn't get any at all. So that's the type of system and strategy we need, where we're working together so that the resources could be evenly distributed and we could maximize the efficiency across the board. All right. Now I'll pause here just to ask, what do you guys think the strategy should be, in your opinion, in terms of education across St. Vincent and the Grenadines? Football and education, at least.
I just think that the training and the education, when I say education, the coaching education, for the coaches, right, has to go along at the same time. I really believe you have to adapt to the stages of learning. For example, the introductory stage, which is the grassroots program, U12 and below. It really have to start in the primary school.
Quantitative.
You understand? And by that, we get the kids interest and stuff like that, So I think the MAs have to decide, and the technical director, where do we want to start? Now that we have this initiative now that we know we have something in writing, where are we going to start the development? Are we going to start it, in the introductory stage? And bear in mind, I think the reason why we have so much shortfall in our football at the senior level is because we miss a lot of these stages of development, right? The basic training at the introductory stage, which is the U12. We miss that. Good control, passing, possession, all of these things, So where are we going to start? And I think this discussion, we should have.
So, Sammy, on that note, my question too, and something that I was fiddling with was, based on one of our previous presentation, based on FIFA recommendation, we recognize that, for example, in England, it is more club-oriented in terms of grassroots, which is basically what we're talking about.
Right.
But now you're bringing into the context of school. If we were to look at Jamaica, on the other hand, I would say that their school system may be the one that really develops these U12s and so forth that you're talking about. In a Vincentian context, how do you see us working in terms of education based on what you're saying? Should our focus be, or should it be on both, or should it be tilted to any particular direction?
I think it has to be on both. I really believe that. Because although most of our kids have, they've never really been trained. Most of our U12 kids have never been trained really in with someone who specialized in coaching kids at that level for years and years. Mm-hmm. And Scrambler could attest to this because, Scrambler, you have gone through the system from 6 all the way up to 18. And you have seen the growth from, and I always say that, from day to day, from practice to practice, from week to week, from month to month, from season to season. You have been coaching such a long time. And you're 6-year-old, you see where they have become from 6 to 18. And it works, especially if you practice 2 to 3 times a week and play games on the weekend. So you can touch on that.
Let me just say something with the education of the players. Okay? I had a talk with my son today. Okay? And I was basically telling him, okay, I mean, you play soccer at least 4-5 days a week, and you go on everything. You go on everything. But are you really? Do you really know how the game? Like you go in your position, you know to move the ball in your position. But if you go in any other position, how are you going to fit in? So we have to be able to educate our young players from a certain age, and at least tell them, well, at least, I mean, it's like playing is not everything. We've got to be able to educate them in all aspects, on the field and off of the field. As Mr. Carrington said, Okay. Let me give you some examples. I've been coaching for the past, 23 years, and I've been coaching youths, only youths. And every club I have gone to, I have given the job of developed. I always been given the B team or the C team and develop those players so that they can get to the A team, which is fine. So it's like you got to be able to teach these players in a way, and develop them in a way that they love the whole game. And that they are able to play and know the game at a very young age.
The curriculum would guide the coach in that sense. If you follow the curriculum, you understand? That will happen, won't it?
My issue with this too, just listening for me, well, not issue, but what I'm concerned about is 2 points basically. It relates to, do we place the right coaches with the right age groups? And when we say curriculum, persons understand how to follow or to execute the curriculum. Or do they buy in what a curriculum is, or is it just for them it's just
Let me give you an example where it's going to be difficult in St. Vincent. I was down there a few years ago, and you guys had a futsal seminar with some futsal training, right? And a coach was basically doing his own thing, okay? And I was sitting with the technical director. So the technical director said, "I'll just go over and help him out." I went and I helped him out, right? I show him, well, how the kids should be. Then I went and sit with the technical director again. And this coach went back and was doing his own thing again. So it basically it comes down to one thing: coaching education. If we don't have coaching education and fit coach in properly with these age group, we're gonna have issues.
Oh.
I have a different question, but still ties into what you're asking this son. How do we decide who to go where when the number of coaches are few?
As I
Go ahead.
as I say, guys, let me tell you something.
Go ahead.
I really believe, and this is what works for me, right? I mean, I coach an age group. Like today, I had U6 from 6 to 8 for like 25 minutes, from 9 to 12, and from 12 to 15. 25 minutes, 25 minutes, 25 minutes. And the same thing I did for the U6, I can do for the U9 and the U15. So I tell a coach that, I tell a national coach, here's something. The same drills I can do for my U sticks, I could do it for the senior team. And he laughed at me. He laughed at me. He said, that's impossible. So I tell him, okay, just listen to this, right? We have 2 target areas. And this is an example of one drill that I do in my U6, tonight, and do in my U15. 15 yards apart, right? 1 player at each end. And there's, in the middle of that, right, there are 2 poles a yard apart, right? So for supporting purpose, and this is my U6, pass the ball to the right. And after you pass the ball, you move forward. And it's like a 1-2. And they pass it to the other end. You understand? So from the other end now, so he has to do, the guy at the right has to do 2 1-2s. So you get the first 1-2. Then the guy passes it to the next end. And he go down to the second pole now and give another 1-2. And he have to pass it and he go to the back of the line. And if you could see it, right? If you could just understand it, And this is where the support start at the 8-6.
Sammy.
Yes.
Let me ask you a question. What part of the game they have poles on the field?
Why you didn't? And here the question you ask, And you didn't really look at the support, When you have football, right?
Sammy, ask the question I ask you, what part of the game had a poles on the field, poles or cones?
Well,
what part of the game?
This is how the training. This is how modern training. The modern training is.
That's your opinion,
you have to create these areas.
Sammy, the game has attackers and defenders, not poles and cones.
Well, listen, how could you tell me? How could you tell me how to set up my practice? You can't tell me.
I'm not telling you. I'm not telling you. I'm asking you.
But how you to question that?
Which game have you seen with a pole and a cone in the middle of the field?
My game. When I play,
No. I'm talking about game, like a game on TV, a real soccer game. Besides the corner flags.
I think now we're looking at approach in terms of whether we're looking at analytical or we're looking at.
So Theon, let me because I listen to Scrambler and Sammy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Talking about coach. I coach youth soccer for a living, so let me just give my opinion, right? We talk about training. Training is not learning. Learning is learning. So when we decide that we're going to be coaching people's children, we're making an intervention, right? And when you make an intervention, we must be cognitively faithful to the children that we are coaching, right? If we're not going to do that, just step aside and like Scramble say Monday night, but let them play without any coaching and do intervene and interrupt their development. So we talk about training. Make sure when you get out there, you're mimicking the game. So if you put 4 players in a whatever shape, square, circle, whatever, and put a defender in the middle, that what Sammy talking about could be done with pressure of a defender, which is game-like, which is more realistic, because no pole tackling you, a defender tackling you. So whether you want to reduce it and have 1 defender, and what Sammy talking about there, he could put that concept with a defender. And when you talk about curriculum and people struggle with curriculum,
Hold up, my friend.
Slide tackle, go ahead.
Listen, hold up.
You ain't hear what I'm saying, but slide tackle, go ahead.
As a coach, their progression.
Sammy, when you learn the game, Sammy,
when you're talking about defense.
Sammy, hold up. When you learn the game, right? When you learn the game as a child, right? You learn the game with pole and cone on the field? Yes or no? When you learn the game, you as a player, which cone and pole on the field? No. So when you learn the game, right? You went out there. There were probably older kids playing, and you had to go in and we were saying, we say you learn the game in the mud. Your game develops in the mud. That means you go out, not literal mud, but you go out and you play and you scratch and you crawl and you play against older people and somebody salad you and they pass the ball around.
No, that's all. That's
and
you
you're
know.
doing, so that's how you learn the game, right? You learn the game.
No, we
by
know
doing
better now. We're
happening.
teachers now. We know better now.
Doing.
Yes, we know better now.
No, you know, Mark Twain said, it's not what you don't know that gets you in trouble, you know. It's what you know for sure that just ain't so. You know that quote from Mark Twain?
Listen to me now. My
Sammy,
favorite
do you know that
football.
quote? Sammy,
My favorite football.
Sammy.
Eh?
See,
We talking about Mark Twain. My favorite football.
Sammy,
What you talking about?
Sammy.
My friend. We talking about Mark Twain. What the hell is Mark Twain? My favorite football. You ever talk about it?
Sammy, don't show off.
It's not showing off.
Because here, Sammy,
What are you talking about? I don't want to get about Mark Twain.
It's not what you don't know. It's what you know for sure that just ain't so. So we have to dissect how we coach and make sure we're being cognitively fit. What I'm talking about. So I'm saying, if we learn the game by playing with opposition, right? Why are we going to teach the game? And the game is the best teacher. Why are we going to put a cone in the defender?
Right. So that's what I was saying. What we're talking about here is approach, right? So the approach to teaching or the methodology that we're gonna use. So in Sammy's context, he's more looking at an analytical context where there's no pressure. You're using basically pose and codes and that.
But the game was a pressure.
Yeah, but that's his approach. Doesn't mean that your approach is the gospel or his is the gospel, but that's just his approach. Both have their pros and their cons. My context, yeah.
Okay, and that's the problem with the game, because you just said, right, that we play a lot of soccer, right? But why aren't we developing? Are we teaching bad habits? Why aren't we developing? We playing soccer. So that's why I say, hold on. That's why I say, when we decide that we're gonna coach, if the kids are playing at before school in the morning, recess time, lunchtime, 3 o'clock, if they're playing all that soccer, right, and they're playing in the village, they're playing in the street, when they do come to you once or twice, right, you have to make sure that you're being cognitively faithful.
Right, and I could give you a context in Sammy's situation. With the pole, what he can focus on is getting the child to focus solely on technique. Of course, with your example, which is with the pressure from the individual, it's how then do they utilize the specific technique. So Sammy's perspective could be, I need to start from here first before I get to yours. Why? Similarly, your view is it's the same context, which is the game doesn't have poles, so I'm gonna start directly with an actual opponent and working. So that in itself, yes, it's a strategy and how we teach, which is basically a discussion as well. You're saying to make it more game realistic or game related, whereas Sam is saying the philosophy could also be one of analytical, where we're just breaking down the technique and literal skill that we want to look at.
Yeah, I see enough of that in America. I see coaches, I see sessions where they're doing passing patterns with cones and poles for 45 minutes. And the kids have not, for 45 minutes, been in a situation where they're scanning, they're making decisions, they're executing. They're just knocking the ball around cones and doing some combination. You go here, knock a one to here, knock around the cone here. So no defending it. So you're wasting 45 minutes. So and the kids are not really thinking.
It's also context too, which is similar to what Sammy was saying earlier in terms of one particular drill could be used with a U6 and roller players. The difference is the coach. So for example, even though they're doing the passing drill, are they considering body shape? Are they considering the weight of the pass? Are they considering the angle of reception? Are they considering...
You do all that with pressure. You do all that with pressure.
But I'm saying whether or not it's with pressure, if the coach is not teaching it, it equates to the same thing.
But the thing is, right, what they're trying to achieve, right, and they're not putting pressure, right? They're trying to get patterns, right? And I have conversation with kids who've gone through those sessions. I study these things, how kids learn, right?
Well,
and these things, some of these patterns, well, most of these patterns are not realistic. So you working, for me, it's a waste of time to be knocking the ball around.
I could agree with you. With you. That and sometimes
it's a lot of these things, that these patterns, let the kids then play. They come in, put them in, what do you want to call it, rondo or monkey in the middle or pig in the middle, whatever you want to call it. put them in opposition, and the same patterns you're trying to teach. What is one defender, two defenders? Make it realistic. Let them learn to the technique, because that's how we learn the game. We didn't learn the game with these cones and poles. We didn't learn the game like that. We learned the game by going. When I started playing, my cousins played older than me. I was in goal when I started the game. Ball flying past me, I can't stop anything. But I'm too small to get on the field. I'm seeing the game. Little by little, you get in and you graph and you fight and you learn the game. That's how we learn the game. That's how the game is learned around the world, right? The true ballers. You see, in America, they cut the game down like it's basketball or football and put in all these parts, right? And, do this drill here, so then you add it in. They have passing patterns for these kids, and then expect the kids them to go into the game and apply something that they did without pressure, with no pressure start. And I don't know how that is realistic. No one can explain to me how that is realistic with the game. The game has pressure. Put them under pressure. You could reduce the pressure. One defender, two defenders. You could change among the defenders, but put them the same thing you're trying to achieve. That same concept. Put pressure at his game like, and stop wasting the people's time.
Good conversation. We continue there. We continue from there. So accessibility to coaching education is another key one. When was the last time that we had a course? Or where can a coach go to have information? Why don't we have more female coaches? Why don't we have even younger coaches? Why is it the same people that are coaching? What is happening at the entry level? Are we making it feasible for persons? Can persons see themselves doing it? What type of innovations are we using in terms of getting to improve players? Are we educating our coaches to become instructors or to become coordinators across the country instead of having to depend on outside help or assistance? I think these are some of the things that we have to consider, because now if we have local assessors and local coordinators and coaches and instructors, then obviously the accessibility to the knowledge or the accessibility to coaching should increase, because we should be able to have more sessions. Whereas before we had to write the conduct up. Can we have a course? Or we could possibly have one such and stuff if course becomes available. But in the context of having your own here, then obviously it should open up the ability to do a lot more stuff. All right. And now that we have so much experience with Teams and Microsoft Teams and Zoom and all the other platforms, even gives us a lot more opportunity to give more access to learning and so forth. Next point that they're trying to introduce to us is coaching education innovations, individual development plans, and multidisciplinary working environment. So the national playing philosophy, or the LTD plan, should be fully incorporated into coach education curriculum. And this is what Sammy was highlighting basically earlier, and Mr. Alexander. It's the different phases. What do we expect at the different phases of the development of each child, and how are we going to bring it out? And that's the last discussion we're having there, which is how are we going to get the kids to actually learn what we want? Is it going to be an analytical one where we use cones and not necessarily teaching the skill to improve, versus applying game-like situation and having them come up against less pressure, more pressure, or so forth? Right. So this is in itself is the actual context of the conversation, which is how do we move forward? All right. Coaches at the top end of the game are increasingly required to work in complex coaching environments, whereas multiple staff may be working with players. These staff members may include sports scientists, match analysis, doctors, physical conditioning coaches, psychologists, and physiotherapists. The modern coach needs to be able to manage these multidisciplinary teams and ensure that they are pulling in the same direction. So here's another context. When we say coach here in St. Vincent, we think head coach as the coach that does all the coaching. But if you were to listen to the system in England, it will say managers, and the context of managers is they have to manage all of these different pieces to get them to function the way that they want to, not necessarily doing all the coaching, or it's more or less their job is to manage all the different parts to get the specific results that they want. So coaching is no longer what do I do when I'm dealing with the players, but more so how do I manage all the personnel around the team so that we could have the best possible results. What's the function of the assistant coach? What's the function of the physiotherapist in relation to what our objectives are for that particular session or that particular week? All right. So this is the context. If we want to develop, this is the context in which we have to develop. So obviously the plan, there must be an initial plan, and it must be communicated, and everyone must be fulfilling their particular roles. Hence, we would then improve. All right. So individual development plan work well when they are communicated effectively on a one-to-one basis between coach and player. This type of approach requires coaches to develop new coaching skills. So coaching is no longer just giving some instructions on the field, but rather sitting and having a discussion with parents and players to decide how we're going to develop this player, where we're going to go, how we're going to get what, when. This is now the context. It's not just going out on the field and having that particular session for the day and then we're done. At least if we're thinking about getting better on a regional level. So the next point we have to consider here now is something that we spoke about a little earlier, which is coach identification and development. Where do we get our coaches from? Where are we gonna get them from? That's a key question there. How we're gonna get them into the coaching? What's the pathway in which they're gonna continue? Do we still believe that a player who was a professional player, that they are exclusive in terms of they should end up being coaches and they are automatically good coaches? Do all coaches need to go through the same particular path, learning to deal with the grassroots, U12s, U15, U17s, and then moving? How do we identify them? Should it be from a federation perspective, or should it be from a club perspective, or from a school perspective, as we mentioned before? When we talk about development, does the development solely means courses and education by the Football Federation, or should it also mean that persons are developed across the board by different MAs or different confederations? So, for example, doing a UEFA license or a CONCACAF license or a license from Sweden or one from wherever it is. Should this type of framework be considered in terms of our identification of coaches and their development? I'll pause here to get your views on these particular points. Does it mean that Sammy needs to also do some more education in terms of outside of America? Similarly, Mr. Alexander, similar Mohan, or is it that just what we do here is solely good enough? Just a thought, there's some thoughts to think about. Should we also incorporate coaching from other sports, exposing them from other sports to see a different perspective on how the same tactics can be applied? I could hear you, so go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think a year some ago, we had a similar session, and I when the head coach was on, right, and I basically said that it will help the country more if those same coaches, the head coach, and his assistant, get involved with the grassroots program, and to at least help these coaches also and, and help these kids. And the head coach said, no, he can't do that. And he don't want his coaches to do that also. So you we it's like we are at a stage now. We are at a stage now where our country has to suffer in the technical department. Okay, and I'm gonna be honest. Our head coach, it shows that he will not be a good fit for youth for any youth program. So I thought if you ask a question and the answer is very, very, very hard to get. Where will we get these coaches from? Because if our coaching education, we can pass our coaching education properly. Where will we get these coaches from? So there is where our youth suffer because we have coaches who are not really qualified coaches. It's like in 2015, we were watching a game of a U16 game of at the grammar school playing field, and the game had no standard. The game was very atrocious. It's like one two ball, right? 1-2 ball, and you're gonna get like six players rushing at the goal, going after 1-2 ball, and you keep hearing 2 ball, 2 ball, 2 ball, 2 ball. And the game was not slowed down for nothing. It was like you watching the U.S. Open, where boom, 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 back and forth tennis. So and the two coaches on the side saying the same thing: 2 ball, 2 ball, 2 ball. Yo.
But it also speaks to the style or the system of play that we encourage, which is a direct one. So that could have been what you were saying. Not necessarily your particular context in terms of possession of
no. I will not say is our system of play. But if that was our system of play, which means we don't have any, which basically tell me if 1-2 ball and 6 players is going at the same ball, what system of play is that? And that shows that certain coaches should not be at certain level.
But Skamla, as you know, you just can't say that, you're gonna coach. when you're coaching kids, right? There's certain characteristics that you have to have. You have to enjoy working with kids. You understand? You have to be able to communicate well. It's like teaching. You have to communicate well with them.
It's
You understand? It's teaching. Yeah. You understand what I'm saying? So when the coach, you said the coach say he doesn't want his coaches to go and coach these guys. Probably it's a good idea because if you not, if you enjoy working with kids, you're not doing 100%. You understand? This is how we find the coaches, right? In my opinion, right? How we learn in St. Vincent. We learn from seeing. From the time you mention book and we don't want that. We want to read. That's not going to happen. But I bet all of you guys say, Mohan, Scrambler, me, Patrick, there's all of you. All of we coach youths up here, right? If we go down there and they see what we're doing, you'll see the interest that they will have. And we could be like mentors for these guys. I mean, that's how I love to coach. I had the best coach. His name is Paul Riley. He coached in the profession. The best woman coach in America is Paul Riley. He coached North Carolina in the pro team. 4 championships in a row. Mohan came to our academy, Mohan. From 5 years old. We started kids then. Crystal Dunn, the black girl who played right back for the US, came to our academy. And look where she is now. So I don't know what you're talking about, Mohan. I don't know which academy you went or how you all teach them there and stuff like that. But this is our academy. It works for us. Before all of these people have academies and stuff like that, we send more girls to college. Division 1, not in junior college, Division 1. The highest quality. You understand? So what I suggest, going forward, if you want to speed up this coaching education, the guys here who specialize in coaching the youth, Mohan, Scrambler, instead of me, yes, they have to see us in action. You understand? Then they will have more of an interest. This is the way it's done. Because this is what we do every day. Or we won't eat. We do this for a living. Well, you have 2 jobs, so that's a different story. But this is how it has to be done. The interest has to be there. They have to see it. They have to see how the kid interact. And look, when we had our camp, look what we did with our camp. Look at the interest we have from the kids.
And we had 150 kids.
Yes, you understand? So this is the way to get the coaches, when they see, here's something now. The young kids are doing this and they're improving from, because it's a 2-month camp, not a week. So you can see the improvement. And they're playing. I mean, I don't know. I had to go back and more on again. You think I could have a session and don't have the kids to play and have pressure on it? I mean, come on, man. You think I'm a jokey coach? Really? What? Come on, man. You understand? You must just say I talking and I can back it up, man. This is what I do.
So the other point we are looking at is the training and education of specialist roles. So I've heard before, this is the goalkeeper coach, the fitness coach, talent identification, youth, medical, but really and truly, are they specialized or are they trained within the context of football? Are they specific to football? Or is it that they just have a specific level? One of the interesting points that I would like you to consider is recognizing that a lot of our coaches have a D license, but they're coaching across the board, meaning they're coaching U13s, U15s, U16s, U20, U23 senior teams. With the knowledge that is given in the D license, and the personality and the type of coach and their willingness to learn and their willingness to apply information and knowledge. It could also express to us as well what takes place on the field and what happens in training sessions. It's if you don't have the requisite knowledge or specialize in a specific area or specific age group, we won't be as efficient as we need to be. All right? It is evident that there's a global lack of organized educational programs from MEs, specialist staff. This reflects the same trends in coaching education and opportunities missed by not investing in long life learning, by being exposed to opportunities that go beyond traditional educational processes, such as obtaining a license and attending refresher courses. Staff can reach new levels of development, which have great positive effects on themselves and on the players with which they work. This is the context we have to start looking at. So it's not just, yes, I want to be a coach, but how do I be a specialist in my specific area? Do I continue? Yes, sir, go ahead.
Theon. And Mohammed and Mr. Carrington and who could say this also. We up here, right? When we want a license, we have to do the necessary things to go and get it. We got to fill out whatever paperwork, we got to apply, and you got to pay. The Federation don't pay for us. Right now, I did my be like, say, 78, 9 years ago. And I'm looking to go and do my A. And it is $5,500. That's so much to go and do your A.
Plus hotel, scrambler, plus flights.
Plus hotel.
It's about $8,000 scrambler.
So, if you want something, you have to be able to go and get it. Make that sacrifice. That's what we do up here. We make multiple sacrifices to go and get what we want. It's not easy. It's not easy. And so it's like it's easier in the islands because those courses have been sponsored by the Federation, and the Federation pick who they want. But also the difference is now at present, your B and your A, it takes 6 months. It's a 6 months program, and you have to go in the classroom 2 times. So it's all about sacrifice. It's all about knowing what you want and go and get it. That's the way I see it.
So,
yes, Dan.
The host of this thing is very competent.
Huh?
The host of this show, he have all of the information, but the coaches doesn't understand that they don't understand that he has all the information. You understand? Because it's either, so I'm not sure exactly why they're not, the interest is not there on their part. And as you say, they don't have a choice. It's free. It's free. You understand? And it's the same concept now that they're trying to do down there. You understand? And I sit with him. I sit with them. You understand? And especially that D class, there is a lot of information in that D class. And if they could just understand and just study it and practice it, they're on their way. It doesn't matter at what level, whether the coaching, the premier, the first division, or the grassroots program. It's a lot of good information that they have there. And learning, as TNC never stop, you learn every day. And you can't put yourself in a situation to learn every day. You don't really want to learn. You don't want to get better at your craft. So all of these things, we have to instill in the young coaches down there. I mean,
Sammy, when you say you learn every day, right? Is it learning restricted to just soccer or other areas that can help you?
Well, me, I just concentrate on soccer. Me concentrate on nothing else.
But in previous times you mentioned like basketball, for example, like you learn from the basketball coaches.
Right.
So like can they learn from, like, do you watch like hockey, for example?
Yes.
Right. So how come when I mentioned Mark Twain about football?
Because he was emotional at the time because he thought you were attacking him.
Listen.
Thank you, yeah.
Listen
Thank
this,
you.
right? Listen this, right? I stand in scrambler, right? I look at the US game. And the right back was overlapping all the time. And it seems to me, in my opinion, he was doing it on his own. There's not a set play in terms of, when he coming out to the back, whether you have to pass the ball into the center forward, the back to the right midfield and the overlap there and all that kind of stuff, There are certain situations on the field as a coach. When you're in that position, it doesn't matter who's on the field. You have to run, and it's basketball. You have to run that play. You understand? And that is coaching. And himself, the big US coach, that really could have said him, So I was like, these are the kind of things I'm looking for. You understand? And I didn't see it in the US game. So everybody coached differently. Everybody learned differently. And our young coaches in St. Vincent, we who out here, we have to help them out.
Sammy, that's the one that helped. Theon always said, as Theon, Scrambler, Theon always asked the question, why would they? Why should they? Right, Theon?
Yep.
Because the motivation is different. Like, I coach for a living, so
yep.
I jumped on a plane on March 8, 2020, when COVID was hitting Europe, and flew into Barcelona to take a course. And while I in Spain, from London, the country, I flew back on the 14th, right? And people asked me when I was going to Spain, where you going? But I need a coach. There's some things I need to clarify and just like get straight over there. And I took that risk and went over there, and I paid for my pocket, my airfare, the course fee, and all that. That's my motivation. But when I come back to the States, I'm gonna get paid. It's gonna be rewarded from when I coach. A coach in St. Vincent may not be able to make the money back from taking to the trip. So we talk about coach education is an individual thing. If there's not a motivation there for you to for yourself, then why do it? I was being tracked to become an instructor. I took my B in 2009, right? Got 2.0 on my B, and for me, I didn't learn anything groundbreaking from the instructors, but I learned from the other coaches. I learned more from the coaches than I did from the instructors in the course. And I was really disheartened by the curriculum, the courses. So I came from, I did ETCB, and what I saw on those courses, I couldn't see myself becoming an instructor and teaching that. But that's so I did learn how to structure my sessions and stuff. There are things that I took from it. But for me to go in front of coaches and say, this is what you gotta do, I didn't agree with a lot of things. So I didn't go for my A because after the B is like, hey, this is not really what I want. So I look to Europe, I look around at all the coaches, like I have mentors, and every day is a learning day. But the coaching courses, I don't think is it be all and end all. I think you take the courses and you learn something about the structure. And again, when you take these courses, you will learn from the colleagues, you will learn from the other coaches. But the material itself, basic stuff. So you decide where you want to learn from. There's so many places you can learn from, but you're not gonna learn how to coach everything from taking courses and having a. I know a lot of coaches that have a license from back in the days, and I see them coach. I'm not gonna comment, but they have a license and they say they're great coaches. So the license thing is one thing. You take your license, yes, it will help some things, but beyond that, you must have your desire and your motivation to get more and decide on your philosophy. And if you decide your team wants to play this way, once you've decided your philosophy and your team, you want to play like United or you want to play like Leeds or you want to play like Bolton or whoever you want to play with, then you go out and you try to get the knowledge and the activities and the drills or whatever to get your team to play that style. And that's an individual decision really. So
I think
yeah.
but I just think the motivation, it has to be correct. It has to be correct that you want to coach free wrestling. I mean, let me tell you something else. In the Caribbean, we play more or less the highest wages in the Caribbean,
Go on.
We play more or less the highest wages of coaches in the Caribbean. The man in Trinidad was making 20,000 US a month. Who makes 20,000 US a month up here?
But Sammy, that's the national team. What about the coaches who are young and learning, and the club coaches? What do they make it?
Okay. Listen to this, right? Go ahead, Scrambler.
Like in St. Vincent.
I just want to touch on what you said, Mr. Mohan. In February 2020, I went to Chelsea to do a course also, a 12 days course. And
Mohan.
Yeah.
How does a Red Devils man go to Chelsea for a coach boy?
Boy, that man a motivation, boy. That's what we call motivation, Theon.
and
That's motivation right there. Motivated.
Theon, I could not have win nothing right there. Okay? So it's like I learn more from seeing those coaches work than actually being in a US course.
Course.
And the way how those coaches work, the professionalism, the way the kids are buying into it.
Scrambler, would you say that the best soccer is in Europe?
Always.
So, and Scrambler, there's something that we always say, we don't need from outside. I think we need to go and study what the best people are doing and then adapt it. No, you can't take it and carbon copy and bring it down and put it, in another place. But you can adapt it. So whatever you learn, you tweak it.
Yeah, you can tweak. Yeah.
When you get a license, right? The license is to get you in the door to get a job, right? So when you get in the door, and obviously there will be a head coach wherever you go. There's a head coach there. and he teaching you how to coach. This is when he learn when he really learn when he started to coach. Is that in a 1 week? What could you do in a 1 week class? You
Sammy,
understand?
what we're saying is, okay, if you're already a coach, right? Like Scrambler. When Scrambler went to Chelsea, right? In
Yeah.
2020, he was already a coach. So he just went to add some knowledge to what he has. And then he would take that now and tweak that knowledge. You understand?
But okay, you want to you want to get to a structured program. After you get a license, right? You have to go to a structured program and follow what the head coach teach you.
So let's bring it back to our context.
Right.
A coach gets a license. What happens next?
He basically, you can put him on his own.
That's the point. So within our structure, there needed to be some sort of mentorship,
Right.
so that this particular coach could get some tips on, yes, we're doing well, what we need to improve on, and that kind of stuff.
Okay. When I get my D license, I was basically coaching park and recreation. Okay? Park and recreation force. Which is like teaching kids how to actually kick.
Me too, Scrambler. Same road, same journey.
Yeah, and
Me too.
And then develop that confidence to actually go on the bigger stage.
Yeah, that's a rough road one.
No, it's easy. Yeah. Start coaching travel soccer, and my travel team started at the bottom of the league, right? And we won 8. We tie 1 and we lose 1. We were champions. Then I got coach of the year for the league. Okay? And my travel team had to move up 2 divisions because of the games we won. So it's a process. It's like in Vinci, right? People get the deal license and I want to coach a big team.
The national team.
And they basically walk in before the call.
Scrambler, listen to this, right? The hardest thing to do is to run a 90 minutes practice session. And could you imagine you have to do that 5 days a week? Yeah? It's not easy. It's not easy.
What's the hard, Sammy?
Yeah?
I think he's talking about new coaches, and he's talking about for new coaches, not for experienced ones. New coaches.
Even experienced coaches, very difficult.
90 minutes?
1, 2, 3 for me.
Yes.
That 1, 2, 3, man. I do them. I just still man call that in.
Let me tell you something.
That like ordering pizza.
Man, could you coach 60 kids at one time?
You're not supposed to.
Sammy.
We know, could it?
Sammy.
No, I'm asking a question. Yes or no? I'm asking a question.
No.
I would say no.
And
you can't coach 60 kids.
Okay, let's do it, man.
I wouldn't have 2 eyes.
Okay, I won't say kids, right? I want you 18 team. I see my boss coach 60 kids. The most amazing thing I've ever seen in my whole life. And this is how the quality that he has. You understand?
So
and everybody.
Where's a coach like they playing?
Doing drills, progression, and playing.
So one man, one man,
Yes.
and no
Yes.
assistants.
Man, all we there, we just looking in awe.
So one man on the field.
And when we see that, this is where we want to be. This is the person that we're learning from. You understand? It's the most amazing thing that I've ever seen.
I see that myself.
Have it on video.
One man coaching 60 and is effectively coaching 60 people.
How really the man is?
Or they playing ball. They doing drills or whatever. Is he actually coaching 60 kids?
I don't want you know how much they pay me? 25 grand.
I like how you
25 grand a year.
I like how you keep going back to that pit thing and
that
like
money,
Hansi, right? The why.
Tian out there because the serious of the Tian. You see the face, man. If one man go to fear 60 kids.
Whoa. Let me tell you something, right? There's nothing like you have a session. That 1 hour session, and you charge a kid $200 for that session. And you jump in your car with that $200 and you drive it home. There's no other feeling. There is no other feeling. You can't wait until you get the next session.
When I do my private session in New Jersey, is $125 a session.
Tian,
it has to be true.
Tian, I see why these two. I see why the lower Sammy and Scrambler. Why? Look, why? That's not even okay. Let's not even compare. Let's stop comparing America to.
No, it's been free.
No.
It could never be free, Sammy.
Where's the number free?
You wanna know why it couldn't? You wanna know why? You wanna know it ain't free? You wanna know why it ain't free? Because you have in your pocket already. If you had nothing, you think it was...
You know, I just right, sooner or later you'll be running this whole show for these guys. You understand? And it's not gonna work if you can't get the support of the local coaches. And somehow we have to get them on board. How are we gonna get them on board? How? And this is, hopefully we can answer that tonight before we go.
Well, it's on the screen now. It's on the screen now. So,
and those guys have to understand, right? Tian can't do everything. Tian is just one man.
I'm not here to do anything. I'm just here to show us the direction.
No, so I am hoping that these guys, I mean, everybody's Tian. What's about Tian now? And what it all?
Tommy, you know to run a government. You run government. You hire people who are competent and pay them to do their job.
What did you tell the federation that?
I hope they're listening.
You can't afford Scrambler.
I would like to say something real quick.
Hold on, Vicky. Hold on.
Okay.
Put down my name like when people put down my name to walk in the road.
Scammer, they can't afford you. So that's scammer that. They
can't afford you. Go ahead, Vicky.
There's a couple of things. One thing I don't want to forget, but what you were just saying now is I've had sometimes better fortune. The past few years, I've been doing mainly trainings, not really coaching. I mean, it depends on what you call it, but not really having teams, but mainly training, and then training players, and then training parents who are training players. So like in the what you call grassroots, we call recreation, and it's about a bunch of volunteer parents training the kids. Some of them know soccer, some of them don't. I've had a lot of times better results with the parents who don't know the game but are willing to learn than with the parents who have had experience in the game but are just stubborn because they think they know everything. Sometimes it's important to reach into, like tap into a resource that you don't really know exists and build them from scratch, you know, especially with the younger ones. And then that leads me to the other part. I wanted to kind of take the conversation back a little bit when you were discussing, or one of the things that you had asked Theon was, what do we do with very few coaches, right? Limited options makes it hard to make decisions, right? You don't have the ideal situation of picking and choosing. From all of the things that I have seen through the coaching that I have done and just observed, because I'm not part of everything, but I observe everything that goes on around me. I think we need to put the most competent, the most willing to go along with the philosophies and the processes and the methodologies that you're trying to build and establish in the youngest ones. No matter what you do, people are going to say, oh, well, you put the best coaches here. Oh, well, you put the best coaches here. This is why this happened. This is why this happened. Blah, blah, blah. It's going to happen no matter what. For me, you start with the youngest ones and you continue with the older ones, and you integrate, you know, all of these processes, you know, the entire curriculum, how you're going to be implementing everything. But you start with the youngest ones, and then people can actually see the development with these younger ones that they never thought that they're, and then they're going to be able to compare it to the ones that already went through in a different methodology with different type of curriculum or non-curriculum. And then you can actually compare and say, hey, you know, these guys are really developing. You know, maybe we can actually get these other ones, you know, maybe we can actually implement this successfully if we put the effort into it, if we believe in it. You know, that's how I feel. That's what I've seen.
So add the data to
Anyhow.
add the data to the process as well. So you could actually identify the specific areas.
But yeah, you should have a better feel for this thing, you know, seeing that, you know, you're a school teacher, right? And this is what you do for a living. And I hear some of your students, they're brilliant. Brilliant. You understand? And I told those guys, you know, what we should look to do. And Sadi did it. I tell them since, you know, 3 years ago, we have to go to these community college. Most of the coaches in America has a college degree. Who coach at a high level? All of them. You can't coach anywhere if you don't have a college degree. You can't get a job. Right? Our kids, we have some bright, let me tell you something now. Vince, you have some bright people, some real smart, bright people, you know. When they leave St. Vincent and come up here to go to school, you know, this is the A average and all that kind of thing, you know. Some really bright people. So I'm saying, you know, let's recruit the kids from the community college, especially those who come to Tiant and them who are in P. I get Tiant have some of them. I hear some of them on the Saturday Zoom. You understand? And they're the one with the need to come to the real Zoom. You understand? And they will get a lot of experience. Not that, you know, the Saturday Zoom.
The Saturday Zoom is for learners, man. People who
Right.
just learning the game and trying to understand the game.
But these are the ones that we should really go to recruit.
Yeah.
Start the coaching. Honestly.
Yes, Akeem, I see your hand raised. Why?
Yeah, you guys messed up.
And I think that's the reality of the environment. It's a good point you're making. It's a tremendous point.
Okay.
But this is why, man. I tell you, this is why.
Okay. Let me
Stop, wait. Hold on. This is why. You think it is the work in Vinci, and you come up with $2,000 a month. Some of them come in 1,500 a month. That's not easy to do, partner.
My brother, you know how much yes program get?
800. 800, right? So that, I mean, I really encourage the players on the national team. My under 20, when I had the under 20 team, I said, guys, the reason why you're in the national team is to get a visa. And if you can go abroad to study and all that, and for it, and if you want to come back home after and all that kind of stuff, that's the only way to play for the national team. You understand? That is, you have to use football as a vehicle for you to be a better person. That's what you're good at. You're good at that already. So you're a step ahead of everyone already. You play for the national team. You think it's easy to play for the national team? And you have reached there. So you just work, be the best that you could be, and somebody will give you an opportunity. Somebody will recognize your talent. Because it happened to me. Somebody recognizes my talent. And this is why I try to help a lot of people also, because somebody helped me. So this is how we approach, the players and the coaches. And Theon is a tremendous example.
And okay, I have my U16 in the summer. It's kids I pick to play in tournaments and practice. And this is what I do. My captain for my U18 team, he is one of my assistant coaches. Another player who played for me years ago, he is also one of my assistant coach.
Coach in tree.
So he is like, and they're doing it for free. They're doing it because they want the experience. They're doing it because they love the game.
No, not you. And you, it's you also. The same thing where Keith was saying there, right?
Hold on, me is exceptional. It's like I'm looking out for them.
They're looking out for you too.
I'm teaching them.
They're looking out for you also. Because so you don't have to tell them anything. They believe in you already because they have seen the results. The same thing with Akeem and why think Akeem here and Theon is about already. You have seen his growth from Theon to when Theon take over this thing. I expect to see Akeem someplace there.
So
Akeem, hear me out. Come on, man.
So I'm just saying, the youths in Vinci, they need people to look up to. Okay? It's like, for instance, right? Kids are out of school every summer, and the federation don't organize a camp. If the federation,
they don't know.
Tommy, let me land. If the federation organize a camp and get like the younger players from the national team to come and help out, okay? It will be good for those players also to at least help out.
Let me stop you there.
And build something with these youths and get whatever experience they can get.
No, someone. We need you, and Mohan to go down there. Not these little coaches. We need you guys there to go down.
We can't afford you guys,
And
man.
Vicky,
We can't afford
all
you
of
guys.
you we need down there.
Invest in the future of the game. Give every talent a chance.
Tian, when I
Thanks for your
come,
attention.
Tian, when I come, I'm not coming. I don't want money. I'm not trying to make.
I don't want money.
when
I just want to sit down document.
Yeah.
As the federation said already.
Excuse me, there's no money down there. When last time there's no money down there?
I'm not expecting to be paid. So
You're not going to get paid as because there's no money down there.
Sammy, I have my business in America. When I go to St. coach, right? COVID came, messed things up, the volcano come. I have my plans to go to St. Vincent, and part of what I'm doing is player and coach education. I have my own plan, you know. So we come on this Zoom and we talk around in circles because we're very good at discussing problems. I have my plan. I have my people. When the time is right and I touch down, it's player and coach in education.
Excuse me.
Federation, club, whoever. I have my plan to do, and I don't want any money from anybody in St. Vincent. Okay, the money in America is so. So when I come up with my plan, right, all I want is my piece of land to put my field on because I ain't gonna beg anybody for no field. You understand? So I have my plan. You could laugh. So I don't want help from anybody. When I'm ready, I have my people. We come in with our movement to help.
And get AstroTurf, yeah?
Of course, that's part of it. We're looking at starting with maybe a 7-side AstroTurf, a futsal court, concrete, so that we have a grass field at a 7-side third field, at least one or two futsal courts because it's concrete. You pave it smooth, paint it, so that when it rains, we don't destroy the grass. So I have my own grand plans.
How plan? You have to get them thing first before you go down. You seem like.
Sammy, you don't worry. Like I'm at a different level, so don't worry about that. You're gonna see it, you're gonna enjoy it. But I'm not coming to St. Vincent to make money. I'm coming to St. Vincent to give back to my country and money in America. We come in with coaches to help out the young coaches, to educate players and coaches simultaneously and do something.
Tian, Mohan, every year I go to St. Vincent and I don't stay one place. I will have a camp in every village every single day.
You go Mespo? You okay then, Park?
I'm to it.
Ask a question, yes or no?
Huh?
Ask a question. I don't know, so ask a question, yes or no?
Yes, no.
Thing we don't know.
Thank you. Thank you. I don't know. Ask your question.
A lot of things that you don't know. How much years ago we were Mespo?
Sammy, I thank you very much. I thank you guys very much. Yes or no question? Thank you. I'm not.
Yes.
Excellent. Excellent.
But you a joke?
We go North Union.
Sammy, Sammy, I asked a question and I said thank you. Why you had to get like that?
Because you guys
said thank you. Thank you.
Nothing touch. You stay with too long.
Okay. Okay, yes, that is true. And I'm trying.
You need to jump on a plane. If you have a weekend, just go.
No, don't tell me what I need to do. I came on the Zoom and I've been learning from Theon and learning from you guys. It's a process, okay? You guys have been doing stuff down there for years. I applaud that. And
we want to see you in
I have my peoples. We have our thing. It's a process. It's rolling. We're gonna come with it. Okay? So I applaud you guys what you're doing.
Man.
Yes, sir.
You know, easy down here.
I born and raised in Vinci, you know, Sammy.
Man, they want to stab you in the back. They want to cut your throat. You just want to do something good enough.
Sammy, that's why when I come, Vinci, I don't want. When I come in strong. I'm not coming with my hat in my hand to beg nobody for anything.
No.
Understand? I'm not coming. I'm not trying to sell anything. I'm not trying to ask for any contribution. When I come proper. You understand?
Mohan, listen. the passion from our kids. The passion. They want to be there. They want to be coached.
But that's kids all over. The kids are always waiting for the adults. You know? The kids are always ready, and they're waiting for the adults to get organized. I see, you know, one of my biggest frustrations with St. Vincent, right? I see people organizing stuff for grown-ups. I see people who should be retired. They have this sweat, that sweat. People playing
Yes.
this tournament. And it's only for the grown-ups. I said they still doing that nonsense.
I see a man have a grass field. And that grass field, you know, it's real national players, you know.
How old are they?
Well, I mean, how old are they? 40, 50, it's 30.
But that's typical Vinci. Typical Vinci is they have these old dinosaurs out there, so and the kids, and then they make excuses why the 6-year-olds can't play. Sammy, you know what we do on Saturday mornings, like for July, for Saturdays, I say any flyer. We have from 10 to 12, we come out, and our kids from our 2015s, as young as 2015s to our 2007s, we come out, we set up puck goals, 3v3, 4v4, and they play. The parents register, it's free, and they play. So the kids that we have in our program, they come and play. So bring a friend, tell a friend, your cousin in town from wherever, come out. We play 3v3, 4v4. We just supervise for safety, and they play. And I don't see why you can't put on a field in Vinci, just invite kids to come out, whether you write the principal of this school or that school, however you want to bring the kids out. I don't see why kids can't be playing right now on these fields with some puck goal, punk to stick in the ground. The set up fields for a 3v3 field, 20 by 30, whatever. I don't see why the kids cannot be given an environment where they can just play. And you don't need any coaching. All you need is supervision for safety. Get water for them, get some snacks for them, some juice box. When the kids come, some juice box, some Charlie biscuit, whatever. When they're done, they could eat something. I don't see why they can't do that. Because you don't need any coaching for that, any special set of cones or anything. Just set up some goals and say, hey, when you guys come, 3v3, 4v4, let's play. I don't see why.
This is what we tell Auntie and discussed that already, you know. We have to utilize every space, whether it's, you know, the concrete, whether it's at the beach, you know, whether it's a bank someplace, you know, that the kids, you know, can play. It's very important. This is how we grow up. I'm coming back to you, you know, with the playing part of it now. And this is how we grew up playing. And we have to go back to that.
But that's what I'm saying. It's just if you organize, like all we do on Saturday mornings is come out and put on some puck goals, you know, and mark some fields, you know. That's all we do, you know. The kids come, get some pennies, we walk in the field, put 3-4 players in the field, you go here, you 3 against you 3, you 4 against you 4. And they play. Now, why that can't, I hear excuses of why can't be singing. I was excuses. Why you can't do that, Sammy? Why they can't just put down on a regular size field? You know they could cut it up and make X amount of small fields.
Right.
Why we can't do that?
Well, what the big man almost in there already.
Yeah, it's like where the big man them is gonna go. Where they gonna go? Because it seems like the only thing we focusing down there, the big man.
Is the island mentality. Look, look, Sammy, I had a striker some years ago on my U16 boys team. Trinidad and father. The boy got speed, the boy at 9, he got speed, he got skills. This boy did not come to a game because his father had to go play in a game, old man sweat, as a goalkeeper. Yo, I give that man a piece of my mind, right? And he look at me and his mouth just drop open. I say, you need to be in a retirement home. Your son under 16, we have a travel game. And the reason your son didn't get a right to come to the game is because you went to play in a game where you're trying to be a goalkeeper at 50 years old. And he had no answer. You go in first, and it's the same mentality that's the training man in America with that mentality. It's the same mentality that we have. I don't know why these old men go in to play and take up the field when the youngers at home sitting on playing video games and watching TV, whatever. And
What?
we're not asking them to coach, you know. We're not asking them to coach, you know, Sammy. We're not asking them
Yeah.
to coach. Organize the same how you organize for all the old man them. Organize for the kids and them.
One.
Yeah.
Now you mentioned that, right? To the U5, my U5, U6. Grandmother day, grandfather, the mother, everybody there at the practice, you know. So the culture, but we have the person, the host of this thing. Sooner or later, he will be in there. You understand what I'm saying? He will be in there, he listening to us, and he'll change things. He will change things, trust me. But he will better be president if he be president now. Instead of next year.
It ain't rocket science, man. I just showed you at the beginning of my presentation how many games we played between Friday and Sunday. So it meant that obviously it had to have multiple fields. Yeah? 3 female games, 9v9 played at the same time. The following day, 3, 4, 11v11 games could have been played at the same time. While an under 17 9v9 game was playing. So that tell you, it's multiple fields. So the main field is split in two. There's another one at the back and another one at the side that I made so that I could have multiple games. So you get hours, you're roughly playing for 40 minutes and you're playing roughly 2 games when you're junior. So it ain't rocket science.
But yeah.
But Tian, that's you. That's you.
It has to start somewhere.
And your mentality.
That's somewhere.
But put that to the rest of the country.
That is the plan.
You're gonna hear something totally different.
Training. Changing the culture for training.
Yeah.
You understand?
Training.
That have to be, you know.
How about this? The players.
Your mic is muted, Vicky. Your mic is muted.
Oh, okay. All right. How about this? The players who are, say, like 15 and over, in your program, you begin a program where they contribute back somehow. There's some kind of system, and they go back and they ref to assistant coach the younger teams, and maybe help to host some of those, like 3v3s or 4v4s that you start to establish, if that's something or whatever it is that you're working on. 77s, 99s, things like that. The older ones then go back and they contribute to that. So they learn to ref, they learn to analyze and observe as a coach rather than just a listener, and they gain responsibilities and like little captainships and kind of create like a reward system. And it would be something that develops within the system that starts to create that type of expectation and responsibility and cycle of creating this new curriculum. You get the point. I didn't articulate it very well, but I think you understand that.
I actually had that concept in mind, but the issue with it would have been the whole COVID situation. So you can't have too much people there. So that was really the interesting part, which is trying to minimize the amount of persons there, but then having them getting enough games. So what are the key problems we have is time, starting on time. That's the issue across the board. So starting on time, and then making sure the crowd is not too big is the other issue because of the whole COVID situation. Because what actually happens is some of my senior players are who referee in the game and coach in the junior team.
Okay, well, I mean, it's something that
Just
that can little by little, especially coming out of COVID, I think work. You know, it would definitely have to be tweaked to realities and resources. You know, because then they would have to also get there as well, in addition to their games and that kind of thing. But you know, it's definitely something that I think would be positive.
but I just think that like what Ken said there, right? And it come from the clubs. You understand? We have to encourage that practice in the clubs, in all clubs. And this is, I mean, I just think that we have to get rid of a lot of these clubs. We have to get, let's implement the club licensing system.
Let's merge.
Get rid of them. Get rid of the account.
Merge.
Yeah, and then who's looking for vote? You can't get vote.
You have merge resources.
Yeah, that's the problem right there.
Wait, what were you saying, Theon? What were you saying?
So he's saying
that
getting
should
rid of some of the clubs. So I'm saying no in the context of you get clubs to merge.
Okay.
I see. I see.
So if you look at your screen right now, you would see there's 7 of us here. So I'm saying we should end up at the end with 4 clubs, 2 joining, the very strong ones by itself, another 2 joining, and then we actually have 3 proper clubs instead of having these individuals who are unable to really do things by themselves.
So it would be, fewer entities practicing at the same amount of fields, but
right,
governed by fewer entities. So
a
little more control about how to implement or being able to implement all of this that you're talking about.
Yep.
Oh, interesting.
Because again, it's like I was saying earlier, we already have a few amount of persons who are willing to volunteer to coach and to do whatever else. So the idea is not to exclude anybody, but how could we get them to organize together to be more efficient? So for example, Sammy has a club. Sammy is coaching the under 7, the under 9, the under 11, the under 15, the under 17.
Oh.
Right? Across the board. Whereas there's another 3 coaches who are doing the same thing. If they merge, then Sammy is responsible for all the players who are under 15. The other coach will be those who are between 16 to 19. The other coach, 21 to 20. That kind of way. So you actually specialize around a specific area and you're more efficient. That's the context.
That's train our loss to 0.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Train our loss to 0. What does that do for them?
What I do for them? They get some pride.
So the hype finish?
The hype finish, yeah.
So
Just like that.
This is what I'm thinking. With the club structure. Okay. You guys don't really have like a proper feeder program, right? So it comes back to the English system. Yes, you have the fourth division and you have the premier. Okay? But then you have the under 23. And the under 23 plays, okay, like the under 23, every club have an under 23. Okay? And the under 20, everybody don't play everybody. So
23 is too old.
Exactly. 19.
okay.
21.
Be ready for the under 20.
21, 19,
19.
Okay.
19, 21.
Under 19. Under 19. Okay. Under 19. Everybody don't play you don't play against everyone. So so you play within your zone. Okay? And then it all depends how many points you get. It's come like a playoff system. Okay, but if you have like 10 Premier, 12 Fourth Division, all those teams have to have an under 19 team.
Could I get a better idea, Stormler?
So you will end up playing at least 10 games. Okay? 10 games a regular season, and then you go into the playoffs. That's just for the under 19.
Could I?
Yeah.
10 games is not enough. When
10
games
in the regular season is 3 months. The regular season is 3 months.
Football, that's before when Theon get in there, listen to me. There would be elite programs, right? And what I suggest, we could fast forward the elite program right now because we have a lot of players, from 13 to 19 who's played, right? Let's develop that age group, right? And have an under 19 championship instead of having let me leave them guys, with all them top teams and who want to play in the first division, because most of the youths between 12 and 19, they're not getting enough time playing in their Premier Division. So it's no way they can develop because they're not getting enough playing time. So if you establish an under 19 league now to run side by side with Premier Division, that these guys, it starts right now for 2026. It starts right now for 2026. And that has to be the under 19 league. This is where you invest the money. You understand? Because we want these guys to play. Because they can play. A lot of them are very, very, very good. So let me cater for these under 19 players so that we can have a tremendous under 20 team. And under 23, in 3-4 years, our under 23 team could be very, very, very good. You understand? But don't send these guys up to the Premier Division and they're not ready yet and send them to the senior team and they're not ready yet. They can't contribute. There's no way they can contribute. None of them. Not one. Not one player who's one player that we send up there could have been seen. None. And he want to say, you have to wait till develop. They're not good enough yet. So let them play a lot of games. And the pathway, if you have a U13 guy, right? He can't wait to get to the under 19 team. So the pathway from the 13 to the 15, you want to get up there and get up there. So that So the under 19 league has to be priority for 2026. And they understand now. So now, may I suggest this, right? Top championship. Because a lot of people, that's their baby, right? So when you get in there now, this is your new baby. The under 19 league is your new baby. So you believe in the use them, and you know they have to play like 75 games in a year or whatever, right? This would give them the opportunity to play. Would they invest in such a venture? Yeah. Is that a good idea? What do you think?
I can't tell you
This is your baby. When you go in there, you know. But yeah, when you get in there, when you get in there, you know, there's no formula. You have everything out already. Everything is planned. You have everything written down already, right? And they believe in you. But you cannot go back with them old thing. Them. How many players we have in first division and second division? Too many players, and they can't play for Vinci. So we rely on the young players. So let's have the under 19. And wherever I go next, this is what I'm pushing. Because this is what happening in the Caribbean, right? Which I think is wrong, right? All of these technical directors, all of these coaches, they want to win. And the trend is they're going for players from overseas. And they're not developing their own football, local football, right? You look at Grenada last night. They have like 2 or 3 players, local players. How can you develop it? Okay?
Who from Brazil team plays in Brazil?
These are professionals.
Emerson.
These are professionals. All of them.
So what's the difference?
Oh, not Emerson. Everton.
Why you think Brazil looks so shitty? Why do you think they look so bad?
I do understand you. I do understand what that's supposed to mean. I do understand. Okay. England just won. No, sorry. Not England. Italy just won. How many players are based in Italy?
Okay.
Only one overseas based player.
Okay.
And I can show you a different scenario. Belgium, wait. Where are the players?
Okay, listen to me now. Listen. These are
Everybody gonna look for what they think is best for them.
But so how are we going to develop the local players now? What is the motivation? How? Yeah.
How?
Yeah.
For those particular teams?
For our under 20, our under 17, our under 15. The pathway has to be clear for them. It has to be clear, yeah. And I told those guys, I don't care what training I do. I don't care who they bring. I don't care who Barbados bring. They're not good enough to win games for these teams. They're not good enough. They could bring from the grandmother. They're not good enough. So when you spend all of that money on these guys now, right? How about the other programs? What are you going to do with the other programs?
So here's my thing with that, right? For me, I am open to U17s, U21. So anything U21, I'm open to seeing foreign players. You see where it comes to national team, if he ain't playing in a major league somewhere,
So
for me, it's best we just use the local players. At least this is where I am mentally right now.
Theon, with that said, 2 guys came from Canada, right? Vicky, you're right back from Canada. Do he play in a major league in Canada?
So again, with that reference, I'm gonna answer this way. How old is he?
Theon, let me finish. Then there was another player I heard on the radio, free agent. Free agent at this time.
Because he's not good enough to make any team. Nobody wants him. That's why
All the league already started.
that mean nobody wants him. He's not good enough to make any team.
Sorry.
So again, for me, the national team is to be our best players. In experimenting on this. I could see experimenting done again in under 17 competitions.
Right, exactly.
Under 19 competitions. But once you start talking about the senior team, if you're not in a major league, not necessarily a major league, but if football is not your profession and you're not excelling, might as well we use the local players.
But yeah, we have to develop the local players, so that they can go abroad and better themselves. As Spring, he's abroad, well, he ain't looking any better anyway. I mean, that's a different story.
But him not good. Him not good.
But no, this is what I'm saying. Okay, if you remember, when we were most successful recently, right? Ezra.
I get the context now. We need to get players into
we need to get them.
I get the context. I know the context.
And a lot of these guys talk about college and stuff like that, right? But that can't help because the college that they're going to, I mean, Kyle did tremendous for himself. Kyle and somebody else, Zeno. Those guys were tremendous at their college. You understand? And what it take them to, it take them to better coaches. It take them to Division 1. And when you get better coaches, you get better. Look at Kyle. Kyle is a tremendous player. So if we can get these guys, if we can get them out and develop them, but they have to leave St. Vincent and come back in 2 or 3 years or something like that. In my opinion. And I think we should focus on that. So because guys, grassroots take a long time. It's a lot of money, and it takes a long time before you see any results. You understand? And knowing how we are, that we want to see things right away, we really have to start with the elite program. You understand? And have the best coaches there. Our coaches, because when you coach the elite program, right, you have to teach. You have to teach, and you're going to get better as a coach. You're going to get better because, and if you don't coach every day, I'm sorry, you cannot improve. You can't be going 2 days a week. 2 days a week.
I'm going to say this. I think that if you do that, you're going to also just need to deal with the reality that not everybody is going to stay. I'm wondering, but I think that's going to happen because you're dealing with mentality and attitude to try to build professionalism, and that's going to be the hardest part, I think. So you're going to need to be ready for that hard reality of how people are going to be able to behave or not. Kind of like Balotelli. In a way has been trouble with teams he's been on, and he's learned, but that's just one player in a pack of other people who are professional. You're working now on entire groups trying to help them with this, so it's going to be a reality to think about. That's all I'm saying.
We need an immediate plan
if you go that way, but either way they still need to be coached and still need to, be exposed to the new curriculum. That's still going to be very important. I'm not denying that.
Theon. So let me tell you something. I hate to be you, man. You understand? Because you make a difference. When I listen to your girls, them who you teach, I mean, it's a breath of fresh air. You understand? And when you're a coach, and you have that much influence on young people, it's priceless. You understand? And I wish some of these people that you know who they are, if they can get an opportunity to study abroad, that would be just, I mean, if in what you do from now on, go into your future, you understand? That alone, and you're very, very good at that. And the kind of influence you have on them. So when you go there, you have to have a platform that immediately, right, that can benefit you, because this is, I mean, this national team, because we're good. Our youngsters, technically, it's a lot of work we got to put in. We got to practice 5 days a week, games on the weekend. You understand? So we're hoping that they can get that from the club. But our young players are not going to get that from the club. We're not going to get that from the club. Our 15 to 19 is not going to play in on the Premier Division. You understand? And that's worrisome for 2026. Worrisome. Because we have to get them up to speed. We have to get them up to the right training. I look at all of these teams play. And Scrum, I know you agree with me. If you cannot possess the ball, how are you going to win? What are you going to do to win games if you can't possess the ball? I see Italy play, right? And I say, I want to see what this man is second half. I want to see what he's going to do second. And he made the man from PSG. He make him look like a general. What you name?
Verratti.
And all Verratti do, he come above the two centre backs, they give him the ball, and he pull the strings from right there. And it's the most possession I ever see. But especially Italy. They go left, they go right, they go long. Tremendous. So I want to say, if Italy could do that, my team can't do that. What are they doing special? I see the guy from England play. The coach, right? And I learned a little thing from him. That man play with two defensive midfield. Right? He has some tremendous defenders. They don't need any help. But still, he has two guys in front of him, and they don't stray away. They don't move away at all. They move forward like 15 yards, the most. They don't even go over half field. Those two guys. And I'm saying to myself, wow. And guess what he did now? Just get the girl ball to the two guys up front and let them do their own thing.
Tommy,
That ain't rocket science.
Tommy, Declan, the centre back, that way you ain't going forward. You might as well stay defense.
But no, but it was fascinating to me, right? When he put his two defenders on each side, put on game.
I applaud.
You think Walker need help? Walker don't need any help. Walker just cover everybody on the field. So I'm saying to myself,
Tommy, man, he put Verratti and Georgina on the field, right? Two creators.
Right.
I applaud him. With that approach, he just doing the World Cup. I watched Brazil with Casemiro and Fred.
Right.
If you're Casemiro, we go with Fred.
Yeah.
Casemiro go down, and Casemiro like 85th minute, you take off Casemiro, bring in Fred. You name Brazil.
Right.
We know Brazil from '82. And you watch Brazil with Casemiro and Fred. You watch England with Declan Rice and Phillips. I just laugh.
Man,
we went out there with three attacking center mids in Jorginho, Verratti, and Barella. That takes guts.
But
You understand? To go out there and do that and play your style. We've never seen Italy come out with that kind of possession and move the ball. Italy happy when you have the ball and then the low block and the catenaccio. So with that approach, it was what struck me with the Copa and the Euro was Mancini's progressive thinking and putting his strength on the field. Because if you have
right.
Verratti and Jorginho, why not put them on the field and play? Right? And I think the reason why coaches don't do
And
that
this is what
because they're scared to lose. But guess what? Southgate lose anyway. Brazil lose anyway. Very defensive approach. So go play ball.
Right.
The fans,
I agree. No,
again.
listen to me. And this is why my only disagreement with Pep, right? When them big games play, he just overthink. You understand? Overthink, and I think he just gets scared. You want to try,
Pep
No, I'm telling you.
Because the final, right, Tommy? What got City to the final, right? Sterling could not make the team to make to the final. It was
right.
It was Rodri at 6. Then they had Gundogan and Gundogan and they used De Bruyne and Bernardo Silva as false 9 or the attacking mid. Those two interchange, and then Foden on one side, Myers on one side. Right? Now they get to the final.
I could tell you something.
And this side you're going to start Sterling. Sterling couldn't make the team, right? And I thought the best City team that I saw leading to the final was that Rodri, Gundogan, Bernardo Silva, and or De Bruyne who playing false 9, Mahrez, Foden. That got you there. That was the team. When he changed that, and I heard Pep say when Fernandinho was hurt a couple of years ago, and they asked him about playing Gundogan at 6, and he said the thing of playing Gundogan at 6 is that you miss something because Gundogan has the ability to anticipate and arrive in the box and score and create chances. So now he comes in the final and put Gundogan at 6. So now that means he can't arrive in the box and play to his strength. So once he did that for me, come on, you're overthinking. So,
but I just think, I mean, you have to know, you'll know from practice the strength of your players. Like, for example, right? Look at it from a distance, eh? If I have Kyle, I have Corny, I have Olex, I have Zeno. There's a formidable, attacking, foursome. And I just think we should have done better with these kind of players. But if you cannot play out to the back, if you cannot combination play, if they would, and we went on this thing on his room so many times with them, all of these things we went through already. So what do you think Theon does TC's thing? Just because you get it from some place and these things work when you use most of these things, playing in the final third. All of these things we have to do. That's how we create our goals. So in the new regime coming up there when he take over, I expect all of these things. And I want to see the possession man down there. Oh. That's what I'm like. I want to see the possession man. I see your team play. You sent me a video. Wait, hold up. You sent me a video. I look at the two teams, and I know which one was community.
Why?
I know which team was community.
Why?
Possession. It's few teams out possess you. Few.
Yeah. I had a game and I play with 2-6, right? I play with 2-6. And like 20 minutes into the game, and my captain come to me at the sideline and say, "Coach, change that. Change that." And I'm like, "Why? Why?" He said, "Because we're not attacking. We're not attacking. The six is just staying in front of the defense, and 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 we don't play like this." I'm like, "Oh, okay." It's like, oh, use sticks and put the other kid at it, and then we start moving the ball.
So wait. So why can't you like with them at the level? The center forward gonna come back to 88 somebody?
Yeah, yeah.
It could work.
But my center forward, he don't do that.
It's coaching. Coaching.
Yeah, but I mean,
Tommy, here's Scrambler say. Scrambler say he moved the 6 to 8 and the ball start move, so it's the problem solved. Center forward, right? Let's do the man, the problem already solved.
yeah.
This solved the problem. Scrambler, Scrambler, do I? Sammy slide tackle here, Scrambler.
But no, but is he getting goals from that?
Huh?
Are you getting goals from it?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. So Sammy.
My center forward is scoring every game.
So Scrambler.
Yeah.
When the 3-man midfield, right? We enter games. I tell my midfield players we're gonna either play 2-1 or 1-2, depends on what they give us. If the other team playing 2-1, we play 1-2.
Yeah.
You understand? Because you say match them. You see that game when Germany played England and Southgate went and formation. At the end of the first half, they played a ball to Muller and Luke Shaw stepped and Muller tried to play one touch back and played a short ball. I think Sterling picked it off. Kane almost scored. Because
Yeah.
when you and when you play a team that's doing that 3 in the back and those wing backs, that's how England scored the goal when Shaw scored, because they found the weak side and Kaiser wasn't back there. Right?
Yeah.
So with that now, couple of things that I discussed with my team before we go in. That midfield, we matching the 2-1 or 1-2. But then when a team comes out and they have 3 in the back and they can move the ball and they have those wingers, you know one switch could kill you on the weak side. So what are we gonna do? So I tell my squad already know. If we see that when we defend a goal kick, we're gonna clone their formation. So my left back becomes a left winger, my right back tuck inside. So we have 3 center backs, and my right striker in the 4-3-3 comes back to a wing back, and we match them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
you don't want to get caught on our weak side. And it's just in the game we adjust, and my players, we know that. We know we're gonna clone that, and in the midfield, we're gonna clone our midfield and lock it on man for man. Because it's when we have the ball, we're gonna go into our formation and give them trouble. But when they have the ball, we're gonna clone for defensive purposes so we don't get caught. But once we get the ball, we're back in our formation to attack you.
Yep.
They say we are coaches in Vincent. Listen to this discussion. Jesus. Nice.
Sammy, like that?
Yeah. That is in your hands, buddy. Wish you luck. At the end?
Easy, man. Man, you
Easy.
luck.
You need workers.
Yep. That's what you need.
Workers.
People willing to put in the work.
Yep.
Have enough resources. We have coaches. I think we need to
Guys.
stop looking at it as it's not us against them. Like if we out there, Theon, right? We have knowledge of the game. I think it's just sharing knowledge. It's just sharing knowledge.
About that's the problem with Vinci coaches.
But scrambler. I don't like you start sound like Patrick now.
I was just going to say that.
Let me not, because it's always like the code is down there. I consider myself a Vinci coach. I born and raised in Vinci. I came to America to study. I am now a full-time coach. Whatever I'm learning here is to go back to St. Vincent and work and I have to find a way to adapt.
Oh, okay.
Right? So
Okay. Could you let me learn?
But Scrambler, so when before you learn, when we speak about coaches in Vinci, let's not be so critical because you know we don't want to come off as being condescending. Let's we're all one. We're all Vinci, and we know the problems that we face, but let's find ways to adapt and incorporate, right? And make everybody part of
I understand.
But you should be speaking to them like that.
Huh?
You should be speaking to them like that. They should, you know, listen to this kind of conversation.
It's like you basically try to teach them something, try to show them something, and the thing that they know it all.
Same point to be said about you.
Huh?
Point can be made about
Me?
No, I'm saying, yes. I'm saying that's the same way you say that, it's the same thing they can say as well.
Listen, I'm on here to learn. Okay?
I'm just saying. That's how how we function as a people.
Yeah, the sell ideas, you know. Sammy, if you have a great idea, right?
Yeah.
And you don't sell your ideas, right? Nobody will listen to you. Nobody know what you're talking about. A man could come with the worst idea in the world, right? And Sammy, we see in America here, technical directors, right? Who come from different parts of the world, come into America, and they sell the idea with the accent to the Americans, and they jump on it, right? You see, you lie, Scramble, you can relate, right? You know people who sell some ideas. When you hear them talk because of the accent, and Americans buy into it because you assume that a man from across the pond, from a football culture, but he's selling bullshit, right? So if you sell the idea properly, people are gonna come along, right? So what we need to figure out is how, if we have a great idea, how do we sell our idea and get people to come on board? And where do we meet them and bring them along? Because the approach, and I always have a problem with, and I'm gonna put it now on tonight to debate, because I have a problem with the approach when we're saying the guy's down there. And if I'm in St. Vincent listening to a Zoom and hear coaches in America saying the guy's down there, it goes down this way, I don't want to hear you. I take offense right away. So we have to figure out how do we bring them along and sell. If we have these fantastic ideas that we think we have, we need to sell it and adapt them ideas and sell them and bring it along. Otherwise, we're wasting time. And they're not gonna listen to us. They don't want to hear, because we keep saying the guys down there. We are Vinci. I am Vinci. I'm not American. American passport, but I'm a Vinci passport too. So I'm Vinci, and I'm thinking of ways. How can I help? How can I help? How can I cooperate? And it's not us against them. So let's figure it out.
But you could help by, I just think, I just have no idea I'm going to be in it, right? But I think that August, right? All of we on a break, because everybody, when August comes around, right? Everybody catering for, you know, fall. What going on in September? So can't we get away? Can't we get away the second week in August and do something for 2 weeks? Am I on? Moran?
This year, I have Sammy this year. My schedule crazy because I have camp until August 13th.
Right, that's what I'm saying. After that, you know.
But I have preseason with high school from August 23rd. So I only have a really week off. This summer, because I lost so much last year, I took on a kind of suicidal schedule. But I would love to hit Vinci in January because I'm not coaching in this cold weather.
Not January, December. It gotta be December. December. From the time they finish school, what is it, December 10th? Why don't you organize it for that time then?
Theon, is that a good time, Theon? Let me ask
Me?
you
It's the
what's
best.
the best time.
Can't tell you right now.
All that worry about it is the 9 morning thing. And that will be a problem.
And a problem, Sammy. And a problem.
That's a big problem.
For them morning, that's a problem.
When I see Grimy on stage, I see battle, I say, boy, Jesus. 9 morning.
I mean, after Lee is with, I need to find out from Theon on the ground, like when's a good time. I mean, this year kind of crazy, but I'm actually off from around Thanksgiving, so I'm off December and January.
But it's not one person, you know. It's all of us have to be in different areas at the same time. You understand? So
about it, I think 2022, I have more clarity and like example like 2022 it's possible. I'm not gonna do camp for 9 weeks. This year I've had camp from June 15th, Sammy. So I'm going 9 weeks straight, and that's suicide. So I need a break. I have 1 week off, and I'm gonna stay in the States for that 1 week, and then preseason, high school, club. I'm going till about Thanksgiving.
Right. And that's the problem.
I may have showcase with my U17 girls in early December because high school is in the fall and then they push back. So this year kind of rough. So I say in January, I'm gonna see if I could hit the ground in Vinci to do some scouting. I need to find some land. Put down that field.
You have time to wait for you, man. You don't know it. You're too far.
The process.
You too far. You too far down. You know what I mean? If you come in and I don't need that.
But in the meantime, you guys do it. You guys do your thing in the meantime. I mean,
if you man getting in by next month or something like that.
No, we had to run Sammy. 2020, Sammy. Is major losses in the Sammy. 2020 was a rough year in the Sammy.
All of us.
Right. So we had to. I try to recuperate.
But you can't make it in one go around.
No. So, but this 2021, I'm on the ground. I'm beating the ground right now. We're here trying to reestablish. I didn't have camps at all last year. I actually
And this is what you do.
Club, but yeah, I mean I coach for a living, Sammy. So I have to,
wow, that had to be rough.
Yeah, so I have to do my camps, and then in the fall I have to do my school and club. But I typically don't work December and January.
But
I take those 2 months off.
Man, you have to see the enthusiasm of the kids, man.
Yeah,
you have to. I mean,
any part of the world in the summit is always the kids are there ready, and they wait for the adults to get organized. That's here in America in St. Vincent, and I'm look, we doing work Sammy. We're looking for sponsors, looking for ways to get it because we know our approach. My group of guys, we know that we have to get everything to go down from equipment and everything. We're trying to find some funding to pay the coaches in St. Vincent. So when we get done, one of the things the long-term project is as we train the coaches in Vinci, and we're gonna have players. Once we identify the players, for example, let me give an example of what we're looking at. We come down and identify some players and create a database. So you know who your players are from your 6-year-olds, the 7-year-olds, 8-year-olds.
Man, Tim don't have all that already. You have all that.
We're going young. And
why reinvent the wheel? No, all that will be in place already.
I don't know that.
No, well, the new structure, with the clubs registering the players and stuff like that, all that's taken care of.
Okay.
The federation would have that.
Okay. So then part of the thing is now to get sponsors so that when we are doing the programs, putting down the methodology, putting on the concept, to get coaches and pay them. So because you know how money motivates, right?
Okay, hold it.
Uh-huh.
All I'm thinking you're talking about, right?
Uh-huh.
That would be different from what Theon want to do. So why don't you? Theon will have his thing that he wants to do, right? So when you come along there, why don't you work it the way that Theon, what do you want me to do?
No,
Instead of you going on there and you think you're in America and you want to do this, why don't you do it that way then?
Stop. Just plan your thing and organize to do thing. You understand?
Sammy,
Doing it.
why doing Tian involved? Tian on the ground, Tian involved in what I doing is not I do it independent. The idea is Tian has explained to us numerous times about the motivation, right? And you and Scambler quite stated earlier how you feel when money in your pocket driving home, right? So what I'm trying to figure out is how to get sponsors so that when we bring coaches and we get the kids, how do we get some sort of stipend, more than yes program, so that the coaches could be motivated to learn and get better. So that's what we're looking at. Because as the young fella said earlier, Akeem, why would you do it when there's nowhere to go, that there's no money in it? So we're trying to create an environment where we have developing players and coaches are being motivated to pursue more and do more. So you get your D license and you're going beyond that. You're doing your research and you're trying to better yourself. So it's a I don't say it's a different approach, but it's a progressive approach that um I'll be working with Tian. So it's not something I'm trying to do independently and leave anybody out. But it's kind of learning from what Tiana said and trying to fill the gaps, um, and just move forward. I think everybody will benefit because we're not hiding information in a summit. We're trying to expose everybody. So if a young coach in Vinci want to learn and get better, we should be able to provide an environment where a coach comes, coaching, and he's getting his stipend. So we're not looking to make money. We're looking to bring money into the country. You done with that, Sammy?
I just want you to go on the ground and just see what the environment is on the ground.
Well, that's why I want to come down and I just say I'm out of touch. I'll come down and some scouting. There's a lot. I'm learning a lot.
That's scouting. We want you to put your hands and go and get dirty down there.
Yeah, that's what I'm telling you. That's the plan. I'm coming down, but I have to come down. Look, I cannot pour from an empty cup in the sun. So I don't make sure my things safe before I can't fly out now in August and leave my camps.
No. We actually should do that.
Yeah, so is timing. I mean, things happen, but little setbacks here and there, but we're still moving forward.
Guys, good conversation tonight. We'll enjoy it.
Yep. Look to close off for here tonight. Let me go and finish up some of them work with Sammy and me doing.
So
who any go cup, Sammy?
Man, me and Kim going. I just like good football. I like Kita looking like my team last night. How my team play. I like the possession. They don't turn the ball over too often. They don't even want to go up and hit the ball because they don't want to get hurt.
Who's that coach, Sammy?
But all them play for one team, 12 players play for one team in Qatar.
Oh, well, that's that. Well,
and they look so composed. You understand?
Remember when Dynamo Kiev was most of the Ukraine national team with Shevchenko and Reb and those guys? Well, Shevchenko well, after he came out of there and went to Milan, Dynamo Kiev had a team in the Champions League doing well, and it reflected on the Ukrainian national team. You have that chemistry already. I didn't know that. But I think we saw stuff who the coaches, but they were finding space well. I saw them cut up Panama defense. Panama couldn't do anything
And Panama's a very good team too.
because and the guy coaching Panama, he come out of the Johan Cruyff school. He come to Barcelona. He's half Spanish, half Danish.
I'm I'm just proud about the CFU. You know, what are these member associations going to do? Because mostly all of them has failed. What are they going to do? Make changes.
I'm happy trainer that put Angus Eve and Gary the Fenwick.
Well, listen to me now. You're just as good as the last game that you win, you know.
Well, you know, so France lost. Is France done? Because they lost in the Euro. Will you see that France over?
What are they going to do? What they have to? They're thinking, well, what you know? Look at Portugal. Look at England.
That Portugal.
I mean,
you saw how Portugal started in the Euro with Danilo and Carvalho midfield to centre back. Just
man, everybody.
to strong man in there like so they have 4 centre backs in the field. You saw that?
Everybody but Italy has to think, what are we going to do? And a lot of people are going to lose a job.
Yeah.
I think Latapi has done a tremendous job in Barbados, right? And I was surprised when they said they don't want him. Are you kidding me? Really?
Sammy, have you been to Barbados?
Yes.
Who
Why?
Barbados like? You know, you in Barbados, you're gonna come proper. That should surprise you. You know, it's Barbados. Come on, Sammy. You know, you go Barbados, you're gonna come proper.
I think somebody say this is not cricket. This is not cricket. You understand? But I think that these young guys there, we understand what it takes, man, to develop our players. I think we have a better understanding because the information is out there. It's just a matter of getting the opportunity and just getting the support from the people above. You understand? And they want to sit down on the money. They want to sit down on the money. Trust me. Okay? They will more spend the money on the senior team than any other program.
Sammy, hey, what? I already recognize, right? That mind for what I need to do, what I need to be done. I already recognize that I cannot beat my head against the wall with certain people and certain structures on the island. I born and raised in Vinci, and I see Vinci work. And I notice the island don't change, you know. Understand? So with that now, if you want to make change, you gotta find the people, the progressive people. I already found Theon, right? That my first grade find. Once I found Theon last year, then now there's some guys who came on this program and said some good things. I made some note. People like the guy on Beckway, Ford, was it Beckway Stowe, right? People like Stowe. There's a guy on one that what is virus in him?
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard some guys with some stuff. So there are people on the island that are progressive for looking. And when I come on the ground, I'm looking for those people who thinking along those lines, and we create a movement. And don't worry about government and federation. And we are the people. We are the people, right? So the people now are defining movement and do it
What?
and the motivation.
What surprised me in 2019? I was in Vinci, and my friends call me and say, "Come down, Beckway, I come help us coach in a tournament." And I went down there, and the organization that those 3 guys have, and the respect that those kids have for those 3 guys, it was amazing.
Why are these guys not in development of youth football in St. Vincent?
And the kids were in the uniform, warm up properly, and ready to play. And and the way they structure it is 4v4 for the 5-year-old, 5v5 for the 7 and 8-year-old, and 6v6 for the 9 and 11-year-old.
But Scrambler, listen to me now.
That's Scrambler?
Yeah.
So why this? Everybody knows Sto in Vinci. So why if you are an association, you have to know who Sto is.
Yeah.
So we have not such a good program in terms of development, and we have somebody from studying like in Sto and we're not using it. Something wrong with that?
Tell me, we went back to the play like for grammar school, like 93, 94. But we would go down on the ferry in the morning, play back where Lincoln High. And we stay at the school for the day and you play in the afternoon. I remember just talking with them Beckwith boys, half time when we tired, we try and hide from the sun. The Beckwith boys walking around, they didn't even sit down. They suck an orange and they walking around and they're ready for the second half. And because we were there all day, we talk with them and we ask them about football and Beckwith. And one thing I remember they told us, they say, every day they come out of school, they play on the beach. Right? This is 1993. I went in 93 and 94 with grammar school. And them boys, that was Tusty. Tusty, I played against Tusty those 2 years. Tusty was probably between Tusty and Venton James. It was two James, Marlon James and Venton James. They were scoring the most goals. And barely beat Beckwith in one semi. We beat St. Martin's. We meet in the final, barely beat three. Those were the 4 top teams. But what sort of me with the Beckwith boys, they were playing. They said they play every day, and they were super fit. You know Beckwith's son already. Them boys never got tired. So I don't know what structure was in place at that time.
No.
But those boys were playing every day on the beach.
Listen to me. Those guys they have a culture down there.
Yeah.
And it's true story. And this is years now. Yeah. You understand?
I'm talking about 93, 94, so I'm with you on that. That's so many years ago.
So listen to me, I took the national team down there. Because we are like 2 or 3 guys from Beckwith. So I say it would be good for us to go over there so they can see the national team. They treat us over there like how they treat the black players from England. They heckle us, call us all kind of names, right? But I tell you, that's the culture. They love their own people, and they'll do anything for their own people. You understand? They all one Beckwith. They all, Well, all these are decent discussion that you guys have, man. So let's gonna wish you luck with the new gig, boy. And Vicky Nade?
Sammy.
When are we gonna go? When are we gonna go, Vince? Vicky, have you ever traveled to St. Vincent?
Never. I am thinking about when that would be a possibility. I think I would really like to do that.
Well, let me ask you a question. You live in Florida, right?
You guys have a project.
You live in Florida, Vicky?
Yes.
Vicky, it's 3.5 hours away. And
I'll put on my swimsuit.
They have fares here there for $200. You just go down there one way, $200, and you just drop your auntie, and then everything nice. That's the first step.
Yeah, I am sure that among all of you that I would I would be welcomed and, you know,
Come on,
help shown the way. So if you guys figure out, you know, what you're going to do when, then I can go ahead and I'm, you know, I have it in my mind. I just have a few priorities right now.
Yeah, you and
with
Mohan.
family.
Yeah, you and Mohan. You all just think about money. You and Mohan. And I just mentioned
Yeah,
money.
yeah. So working on that. But you know, the December idea, you know, might be more feasible than August.
Yeah.
I don't think August is going to work for me.
No, December 10th, around that time, just as they finish school.
I'll put it on the calendar.
That's the time. Scrambler.
All righty.
Scrambler. December 10th. Yo, guys, thanks, man.
Good night, everybody.
All right, Sam, you have a good night. Have a good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone.
All right, good.